Hello! Happy Valentine's Day. I know it's late, but I'm just now getting around to using the present from my husband Jeremy. The best gift of all, a day just for me. He took the kids so I can do all the girly things that I love to do, including a mask and a refreshing cucumber facial. Tonight, I'm gonna do my favorite thing of all, which is make a quilt, the Arrows Quilt. And I'm gonna tell you how you can get my new Craftsy class for free. That's right. So let's get started in just a few minutes. So I feel much better, just like a new woman. And since I get to do whatever I want today, you know I'm gonna make a quilt. So I'm making a quilt using the white solid fabric and a Boundless Solids pre-cut roll. And I'm excited because I'm making the Arrows Quilt pattern by Krystal Jakelwicz, and I'm super stoked about it. So the thing about opening these pre-cut rolls, it's kind of like the moment of no return. We're never gonna get it back to this, but that's all right. I have a beautiful quilt I wanna make out of it. Such pretty, pretty colors. I've got my purples and my yellows, my pinks and my blues, all the pretty colors. Now all I have to do is start cutting these up and making my block. So I'm gonna cut these into differently sized rectangles. So I'm gonna cut some 6.5 inch, some 4.5 inch. I think since he was so sweet to give me the day, I probably will give him this quilt. I mean, come on, I'll use it more than he does. It's funny to think we've been together over 15 years. I think about when we met, I actually was the manager of a Burger King next to a Subway, which he owned. I know, surprising, right? Yes, my degree is in fast food with a minor in French fries. And you know, working at Burger King, I got tired of that, so I'd go over to Subway where the cute guy was working, and I kept going in and getting sandwiches because I thought surely he'd ask me out. But it took about a year's worth of going in, buying Subway sandwiches. Man, that was so many Subway sandwiches. Cut up those strips, now I'm gonna cut up the background. It wasn't a great financial investment because I would go buy sandwiches just to talk to them and then just put them in my fridge and not eat them. What can I say? Love makes you do crazy things. Okay, background's cut, strips are cut, let's make a block. Each block in this quilt uses a background and one other color. So I've pulled out all the yellows to make the first block. Yellow, kind of like Subway, right? And this quilt is made in a log cabin style. What that means is I'm starting with the center and building around it. So this is gonna be the center, and I'm gonna take these two pieces and make a half square triangle. It's pretty easy. I'm just gonna get my ruler, draw a line down the middle diagonally. Perfect. I'm gonna sew on that line and then trim. It's crazy to think that it took him so long to ask me out, but I wasn't giving up. I'm nothing if not tenacious. I mean, he was friendly enough, but I just couldn't get him to show any interest. I mean, I would go in and ask for extra olives, and he would give me 4 olives. So I'm feeling like that was the clue that he was not interested. So I'm just gonna finger press this open and sew it to the bottom of my center block. So there's a center, and I'm gonna add the next 2 sides. And I'm using a bigger rectangle of the background, a bigger rectangle of the color, and then doing the same stitch and flip technique. But what I want to point out is I have them going in different directions. She shows you exactly how to do this on the pattern, and so just pay attention and you'll get it right. So one time when I went in there, I took a free Whopper coupon. Right? I thought, come on, I gotta do something. I said, hey, if you're ever interested, here's a free sandwich. And he said thanks, he took it. I didn't realize he didn't actually like Whoppers. The next time I came in, he finally asked me out. All right, so now a little cut. Now, how does this turn into an arrow? Wait for it, we're getting there. This one is gonna go on the right side. I'm gonna sew it just like so, and then this one will go on the top. And I'm gonna give it a quick press before I move on. All right, first round is done, time to add some more. So now we're gonna use the same stitch and flip technique, but we're dealing with rectangles, so there's a little bit of thought to put in the placement of the blocks. So with this first one, it's gonna go on top. So the background fabric on top, I'm gonna draw my line and then sew on it. The second one, the background piece is on the bottom, and then the color is on the top, just like that. I always like to say Jeremy was dating me because I had fast food experience. That one's gonna go on the left, and this one's gonna go on the top, and I know it doesn't look right. This one's not touching there, but don't worry, this is where we get to see the first part of that arrow, kind of like Cupid's arrow. And I'm gonna sew those together. And then we're doing the same thing again, but now I'm using a bigger piece and a smaller piece, still paying attention to the placement of the fabrics. It really is funny that we went out on a second date, because on our first real date, he took me to this fancy restaurant in the plaza in Kansas City, and the restaurant we went to didn't have prices on the menu. So I thought, okay, I'll just order the fish. Well, come to find out, he didn't tell me till months later, but the fish I ordered cost like $80. I'm surprised that right then he wasn't like, you know what, this gal's not worth it. All right, this one's finished. Now look at that block. Doesn't it look fantastic? But I can't decide, are these the arrow or is this the arrow? I don't know. What I do know is I have the same block in some different colors. How about a pretty soft orange? Purple's not really his color, but there has to be a little bit of girly colors in there. So now all I have to do is lay them out and start assembling my quilt. I have all the blocks done for the first couple rows, and Krystal Jakelwicz, when she designed this pattern, she left it up to us to decide where to put the blocks, and I love that. Now, I do kind of like this diagonal effect that's going on, but if I wanted to get wild and crazy, I could actually arrange them so that they come together in a point. Or I could have them go in opposite directions, so that some arrows make a zigzag. It's kind of like a choose your own quilting adventure, but I think I liked it better the first way, so I'm gonna turn it back, and then I'm gonna sew the blocks together in rows, and then sew the rows together. Oh, that one is off. So let's sew these arrows together. Get it? I think I'm so hilarious. And the quilt top is finished. I love the colors in this quilt almost as much as the fact there's no borders to sew on. Now what I think is really fun with the color placement is I'm going from lighter to darker, so it's kind of like an ombre effect. And even better, there's very few matching points in this quilt. So just where these arrows come together, do I need to kind of, sort of, somewhat make them match. The rest of the points are just fine. Now I'm gonna make a sandwich, a quilt sandwich that is, and I'm gonna use this black solid backing. Now, normally I wouldn't go with such a drastic color, but there's a lot of pastel pink and purple in here, so I figure I better use a manly backing. And as an added bonus, it's gonna show the quilting. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm ready to start quilting, but first I have to pick a thread color, and you can probably guess what thread I'm gonna use. A light yellow. I know, I'm so predictable sometimes. And since I'm using it in the top, I'm using it in the bobbin as well. And that means the quilting is gonna show up on the back, but I'm okay with that. It's like getting 2 quilts for the work of 1. And I'm also gonna use my ruler and do some dot-to-dot quilting, so I'm excited to get started and see how it turns out. I quilted a straight-ish kind of line that goes out just inside of the next point. But then I'm gonna continue on and then touch the other side. And then I'm gonna do the same thing inside of it, coming back to where I started. And then I just did the same thing in the smaller triangle. Now you might notice I'm using a ruler. I love quilting with rulers on my home sewing machine, and it just so happens I have a brand new class on Craftsy called Quilting with Rulers, Free Motion Made Simple, and you can take it for free with Craftsy Unlimited. So check out the description box below for details on that. So I did dot to dot in the purple part of the block. I'm gonna extend that into the white area and then do some free motion in the center. Oh, you know what would be fun? Oh, yeah, I think I'm gonna make a little letter for Jeremy in here. Maybe a little note like, Angela loves Jeremy, or do my laundry, something like that. So I think right here in the center. Let's do a heart. And then we'll do Jeremy right here. What I'm going to do is just fill in around the letters so that it doesn't stand out too much. Oh, and how precious is that? Angela loves Jeremy. It's almost as precious as when he proposed to me. What? How did he propose to me? You want to know? Well, I'll tell you. No, it was very sweet. We went camping out in Missouri, and he took me to this remote location, picked some wildflowers, and then came back and proposed, got on his knee. It was so sweet. Of course, I said yes, cried a little bit, and then I realized I'm out of cell range. I can't call and tell any of my friends. So as soon as we got back into cell phone coverage, like 2 days later, you can bet that I was calling everybody and telling them the news. All right, well, I don't have that long to finish this quilt, so I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the dot-to-dot quilting and the swirls, maybe a few other notes tucked in, but I'm not gonna show you what those say. And if you're not sure about what I'm doing here, don't worry, I have some free quilting diagrams that show you exactly what I'm quilting where, so be sure to check that out. You can download those by checking out the link in the description box below. We have the turn in early option, which is a quicker version, or an up all night, which may show you how to write letters of your own. Well, I'll get back to this. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. This quilt is finally finished, and it was so fun to think about all the memories that we have made over the last 15 years. We have 3 kids now, 15, 12, and 8, and really it's because I met Jeremy that I'm even a quilter to this day, because it was his grandpa that taught me how to quilt. So it's just kind of amazing that I'm here because I worked at Burger King and met him. This Arrows quilt was amazing to work with. The colors, from going from light to dark, the dot-to-dot quilting, and all the swirls, I just couldn't be happy with how it turned out, with a few little love notes tucked into the quilting. And if I'm being honest, I love the front, but the quilting on the back looks just as good. And if you want to try quilting straight-ish lines on your sewing machine, don't forget you can take my new Craftsy class for free with Craftsy Unlimited. So check that out in the description box below. And since you're scrolling down there, you might as well go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And leave me a comment letting me know what you liked about this episode. And I have a few more moments to relax, so I think I'm going to just lay back and chill. I'll catch you next time.